Okay, this time it's something I haven't seen before. This little thing is a dehumidifier, from what I understand. Someone from Buy Nothing was getting rid of it and dropped it off here for me to play with. The brand is Hysure, and just to prove I'm not making it up, it's an intelligent dehumidifier, 65 watts. It's a Model T8. Just a quick check. We got nothing. So it's dead. It's 100% dead. There's a bucket in the back. So I guess it does at some point pull some water out of the air, and as you would expect, there's a bucket switch, and I'm just hitting that bucket switch. Nothing. So it's possible the switch is bad, but it's not just for simple stuff like the switch not being activated. So we'll figure out how to take this thing apart. It probably doesn't have a little refrigeration unit inside of it. It looks like we're going to find out soon enough. Here we go. Peltier, if I had to guess, but there are some little tabs in there, and maybe if we pull them we can convince it to come out without breaking them. So that's what it is. So looks like it's a pair of Peltiers and a power supply. And if it's dead, I'd say it's probably the power supply. Well, there'd also be, of course, there'd be fans in here too. So there'd be probably a fan or two Peltiers here, 12 volts each, and then the power supply's over on this side. So I'm going to try to loosen up some of these wires so I can work on it with it still assembled. I've not had a lot of personal luck repairing the power supplies on these things, but it's always a first time. And bingo. So oops. Let's take a look at the top of the capacitors. And kind of hard to see, but that's flat. Come on. There we go. So domed, domed, domed. So all three of those 1500 microfarad 16 volt caps need to be replaced. At very least. So we'll proceed to take the rest of the board out. There we go. So obviously I don't know what other smoking guns there might be here, but until we replace those three caps, we can be pretty confident that this thing isn't going to work. Hey, they both came out at the same time. Cool. I'm going to clean the holes. Take a look now at the ones I'm going to replace it with. These are used caps. They're pulled out of something that was going to be scrapped. And say so 0.06. 0.08 I think is the threshold. These are 2200 microfarad caps and 16 volts, so 0.08 is the threshold, and 0.06 lower is better. Same thing here. 0.06. and 0.04, so perfect. It gives us good caps, or at least caps that we know are good for now going into the power supply. We'll just solder those in and see if that solves the problem. And one more. Okay. There we go. Oh. Said con 4, right? Yeah. And it's a little tight. This capacitor's a little bigger than the other one was, but I think it'll be okay. And then this popped off of here. Oops. And then, okay. And this popped off of here. And this popped off of here, if I recall correctly. There are only 2 wires to this board. So now what we're going to do is before we put it all back together, we're going to see if we can get it to run. So, And what we should hear is we should see it come on. It should use some electricity. It should fan. We'll hear fan. So it's plugged in. Not using anything. We got the bucket switch on. And dead as a doornail. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. We're now using 88 watts. Bet you there was a light up there or something that I just couldn't see. Yep, there's green lights, or there's a green circle. I can't see it because of all my lights here, but so fan comes on. I'm going to assume that the Peltiers are going to work. What we're going to do is we're going to let it run a little bit and just make sure that the Peltiers are heating up. 90 watts, 88 watts, that's quite a bit. Oh, and I can feel it getting cooler already. Oh yeah. Yep. On both sides. Ingenious. Well, I can't speak to how efficient these little units are compared to a full-size dehumidifier, but this will pull air across it, cool the air off, cause the air to lose its moisture, and send the air back out into the room. So, what a dehumidifier does, and this one's doing it again. I'm gonna turn it off, put it back together, and figure out what to do with it. This was held down with 4 screws that went right here, if I remember correctly. And where are those 4 screws? Right here. Did it again. And then all the wires came through here, off to one side. Well, that was pretty good. I think I got it together without having any screws left over. So I don't think I broke any of the tabs. Yeah. I didn't mess up the circuit board while I was soldering it. this filter goes in here, like that. And then finally, wait a bucket. Come on. There it is. Alright. So, then we can turn out some lights and see the turn out some lights and see the green circle. There we go. You can kind of see it. There it is. So, to recap, we got this, plugged it in, it was absolutely dead. Nothing. We opened it up, checked the power supply, and discovered that 3 of the capacitors were exhibiting, they'd blown, they were domed. These are 1500 microfarad capacitors. We were able to find some 2200 microfarad capacitors in the power supply. It doesn't have to be that exact, and as long as they're higher, and not terrible, a whole lot higher, they should be fine. So we replaced those 3 capacitors with 3 capacitors that were harvested out of another device by a fellow fixer. It was nice enough to run them over here. Traded her for a triac for an electric knife she was working on, so you know what goes around comes around. Where we now have a working dehumidifier, Peltier based dehumidifier. Never seen one before, but seems like it would work for little tiny places that you want that you wanted to pull the moisture out of the air. So, having said that, that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Yeah, bye bye.